Hello, 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 and welcome to the SideQuest, your beautiful weekly journey into the wonderful world of video games and video game culture. I'm one of your fantabulous hosts, Dolly Domofsky. Joining me is somebody, eventually. Somebody will be here. Please, someone will be here. Let me adjust the microphone. Yeah, I got everyone just loading up their computers, getting everything ready. So I figure I'm going to hit the start button because 9 a.m. 9 p.m. 9 a.m. It's 9 a.m. somewhere. 9 a.m. ish means people are ready and waiting. Maybe they're watching wrestling and they want us involved as well. Who knows? But yeah, it is time. It's time to talk about video games. And I hope you've been having a wonderful week. I have been somewhat having a decent start to the day. I guess in a way, it's been the time change is kind of screwing me. But other than that, it is somewhat survivable day, I guess you could say. So we'll see. We'll see how the rest of the day goes. It is, as usual, a crazy week, crazy weekends, news happening all over the place. We'll get to a lot of that kind of stuff. We'll get to some of the games we've been playing. We'll get to some of the cool things we've been doing. Let me do this. Yeah, I do want to say, make sure you hop into sidequesting.com. Go to the Discord, join the Discord, because that's where all the awesome people are. Go to YouTube and Twitch. Look us up, SideQuesting TV, all one word, SideQuesting TV, and like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff because it really does help us out. Do want to thank our Patreon folks. Once again, the Patreon really helps out, helps us cut down a little bit of the cost to run this website because prices have started to go up over the last several years, especially the last few months. So you can go to the Patreon. The link is over on SideQuesting. I might even be in the post here. I'll make sure that I start including it. But I want to thank the executive level folk, Tom Johnson, Punk Defied, who are just two wonderful people, friends. Kind of think of them like family. Definitely find them over on the socials at Tom Johnson. I think maybe is it at that Tom Johnson? No, at Tom Johnson and at Punk Defied, PUNKDEFIED. So yeah, look them up. They're good folk. Also want to thank our producers, Jeffrey Grubb, Exagenous, Zero the Prototype, and Stefan Swanlin. Thank you guys for being wonderful people. You guys also help contribute to us. And we've got some fun things in the Discord, starting up sort of a question thing. So I'm going to have some of those questions popping up here, answering away on the show. And we've started putting some recipes in there. I'm going to put another recipe in maybe today. We'll see, tonight or tomorrow. But Discord, Patreon, folk recipes. Whew, I'm tired. I'm trying to get my energy back. Hope you all having a little bit more energy than I do. I just had a coffee too, so I don't know why I'm tired. But yeah. So tell me about your day. How have you been doing? Hopefully your day's been doing well. I'm gonna put on the glasses. Glasses. These are the Overwatch. If you remember, I kind of did a somewhat of a review of these Overwatch glasses last week, and I'm putting them on right now. Oh, there's JJ. Hello, JJ. Ooh, look at that. Did you get a new camera or something?
No, my laptop's taking way too. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, perfectly.
Okay. No, my laptop's taking too long, so I'm on a cell phone instead. So
your camera's better, your audio's better. Yeah.
it's the same
Late
headphones.
for a show that was announced 10 minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was 10 minutes ago. My laptop was at 4%. Now it's at 8%. So I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm just gonna.
Yeah. I ended up starting Exagermoose. How's it going? One of our beautiful Patreon folks, that guy there, Exagermoose. JJ, how you doing, friend?
Oh, I'm doing fine enough. I mean, I could be better, but we could all be a little better.
We could all be a little better. How'd your weekend go?
Fine.
Yeah.
I went to Comic-Con on Friday.
Yeah. Saw some of your awesome photographs there.
Yeah, went to did that, and then but I went to Comic-Con and with a bad back, so
yeah, you were saying, dude, how's
I spent the rest of the weekend like laid up, so
but
that's fine.
you
I
got the
got this.
game.
Yeah, I got the
right?
6 Sonics shirt.
Dude, I love that. The Seattle comics. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Dude,
that's a good shirt.
I think what's sad is everybody misses, even the people that don't live in Seattle miss the Supersonics, miss the Sonic. Just the coolest team that
That the
like
'90s team was
yeah.
sick, man.
Yep. It really was. It
I
was the
think, yeah,
90s. Like that
yeah,
team wasn't they didn't win anything. They never won a championship, but that team was the 90s. Like
yeah.
everybody cared,
Well, for the
Pearl
longest
Jam,
time,
everybody went to those games. Yeah, yeah.
the Sonics was the only team in Seattle
True.
professional sports that won a title. So
That won anything. Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
that was in the
Right.
'70s. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, then they booted him out of there. That's right.
yeah,
That was
that's why we all hate Starbucks here.
so y'all hate Starbucks. Let's get into a little bit of news. We may get one or two other people joining us. We'll see, but let's get into a little bit of the fun news that's out there. And there is some fun-ish news. I'm gonna share this first one. Um, and you know what today is, by the way?
March 10th.
March 10th. It's the day after March 9th, the day before March 11th, and also Mario Day. And for
I was
Mario
gonna
Day,
say that, but I thought like I'm not gonna step on whatever joke you might
no,
have
no,
set
no,
up.
no joke whatsoever. No
Oh
joke
wait,
whatsoever.
I'm on phone. I wonder if the Johnny thing works, where I can do the thumbs up. No, Johnny's special. Johnny's got.
Johnny's special. Yeah, he could
Yeah.
do.
Oh,
Oh, there. Oh, that's cool. Dang it. Dang,
so,
mine doesn't do anything. Yeah,
so it's a
I look like
mobile only. A
I'm
mobile only.
man. And
Okay.
that the mobile version of this does that. That's so cool. Maybe I'll have to switch that from now on. I look like I'm milking a cow. I'm like, am I doing this
Yeah,
thing?
you're playing 1-2 switch.
I'm playing 1-2 switch. I'm also gonna be playing with this guy.
Uh,
Our beautiful boy Lego Mario Kart. Look at that.
I love the fucked up little Mario in it.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
really good.
Yeah. So this was announced today. You know, Nintendo usually they don't go all out for Mario Day, but they do tend to have like a little bit of stuff. Like last year, they announced this Mario movie 2. They talked about, I think, was it Donkey Kong Land or whatever, Donkey Kong Country. They did a few things. They actually had like a little mini
Yeah.
mini event. They've done it like every year. They had nothing this year. They're
Yeah.
gearing up for the Switch 2, obviously next month in a few weeks here, but they could have pitched us something. But yeah, anyways, check us out. Almost 2,000 pieces, 1,972 pieces. And look at this beautiful thing here. They actually did a pretty decent job, I think, of getting a lot of a little curvature and all that kind of thing here. Posable arms so he can hold on to the steering wheel, lift his arms up, turn his head around.
I hope that means like you could put like a shell in his hand, like.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like later on, you get something kind of neat like that. Yeah, like a blue shell or something. But this is the classic. This is the OG cart that you got there. And really,
I think of that as like I think of that as like the Wii cart that just kind of became the norm.
Yeah. Yep. I think you're right. And really, the only other thing besides Mario's head and arms being posable, you got the little base here, and this thing can sort of swivel a little bit on the base, depending on how. That's it. There's nothing else to this thing. It's literally just the wheels can turn, but you're not going to roll this thing around because it'll probably break when it does.
I'll be interested to see what little Easter eggs they hide in it, because they always do a really good job at hiding little Easter eggs in these things.
They do. And I mean, you got the Game Boy coming later this year, right?
Yeah.
Look at this. Yeah. Look at our boy's face there. You got the Game Boy coming later this year. That's the one I'm really excited about. Oh my gosh, I wrote. Look at that. I didn't even put a space there. Let's have to edit this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. It's over. It's Jover. But it's a good size. I think it's at like 18.5 inches. Sorry, 12.5 inches long, almost 8 inches wide, almost 9 inches tall. So it's a good size, this guy. So it's you think like, yeah, it's a good cart, and they do got a nice proportion there. Yeah, I'm digging it.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, it's not the. I surprisingly, I mean, that Super Mario World one was really cool, and obviously they have all those other really cool giant sets, but
yeah.
I do like when they put these kind of standalones that are tangentially related to like this is tangent-wise related to the Mario Kart, the Piranha Plant, the Question Block, the Nintendo. They're all silly. Yeah, it really is. That one's really funny. Yeah, the Super Mario World one is really funny, and I do like that they did these, and they're not like playset style, you know, because the playsets, I don't know how many of those playsets you got. I think I have the main Mario, the main Luigi, and the main Princess, and the main Donkey Kong, and that's it. And I think I grabbed like maybe one or two little ones here and there.
I only grabbed the main Mario because I display Lego and they display like shit. So...
Yeah, that one doesn't because you have to set up like a whole world for it, you know.
Yeah. But it's a little too free-formed, and it doesn't look particularly coherent.
Yeah, this one looks really good. This one will look really nice on a. I'm staring at my Star Wars set over here. I have a TIE fighter. And I think that looks.
I think if you
so I'll put this guy right next to it, or next to the Lambo on the other side.
Because I'm on mobile now, you can see my weird New York skyline going on up here.
That is awesome. That is so cool, man.
At the Home Alone house.
Oh, dude. And I love that you actually open and put them together. I think that's pretty freaking awesome.
I got those cool Pokemon pixel things for Mega Bloks. I think they're sick.
And I think Mega Bloks has they have the deal with the Pokemon company. That's why you're not seeing any Pokemon ones.
Yeah, they got Pokemon, they got Halo, they got Hot Wheels, but obviously it's Mattel.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd be curious one day to see if any of those cross over. You got Link, you got Zelda. I'm curious why there hasn't been anything else announced for the Zelda set, but I wouldn't be surprised if something new gets.
It's cool. It's weird too because you can go on like Amazon and see like bootleg sets, and there's some really cool Master Sword sets. Really nice.
Yeah.
And I want like Samus or something like.
Yep.
Even if it was just like Samus in Morph Ball, that would be sick.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would be sick. That would be Samus's ship. Would be badass. That's a great call. Like, you get the ship, you get
a Lego Metroid.
A Lego Metroid with
it. Got all that
you get a little Samus. But then and maybe a little pirate, that's the minifig. But then you can also have you can get a Ridley fig, like a whole separate Ridley figure and a whole separate Samus figure that actually you can modify it to make
it Transformers style, because I have the Optimus Prime and the Bumblebee that they did. They transform without breaking. So.
They're great. Same with the freaking the Voltron one I had. I think that one transformed well, and then I sold it and made buku money off that guy. I think I bought it for like $250, $220, whatever it was, and I sold it for like almost $500, which was like, hey, there were people out there that want it, and that sucker keeps going up in value. So best thing to own is Lego. When all the other stocks, if you look at the stock market, everything else goes down, pick up some Lego. They always go up. Anyways, that one is really cool. I do want to turn your attention to the next bit of information that I have here, which was over the weekend. We had a couple of stories actually that kind of happened over the last few days, and the sharing of the information would be helpful. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 have officially been announced. We obviously knew this was being teased. Is it TPS TA? Is it FIPS 3? Is that like everyone's favorite, or?
4 tends to be the one that has, because 4 is when they kind of introduced a storyline.
Which isn't in this.
Which is perfectly fine with me because that storyline is both like, I don't know, it's not great, and it wouldn't skate humor not particularly hold up in 2025. Because it's a lot of like, hey, why don't you go around and beat up some hobos and shit like that? So it's
Tony Hawk.
and you rip out Bam Margera because he's poisoned his well and stuff like that. Like there's just it's an interesting. I mean, to me it doesn't. To some people it was really a deal breaker that it doesn't have the story mode. But it's like, it's kind of ridiculous to me that you thought it would. Like, did you think they were just gonna have like a random story mode for half the game shoved in there for no? It's always gonna be this. Mm-mm. Yeah, unless it was the only way they would have done that if they would have remade it by itself. So definitely.
No, I completely agree. It'd have to be a whole separate thing. Maybe they'll come up with something down the line like as DLC, which I could see them kind of doing. Yeah.
Or I mean, like you just have
Yeah.
do a trilogy and have the Thud games because both of them had storylines and you just combine them into one.
They'll likely push that out. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they start throwing, I mean, it's a very easy money maker for them. People still love the Tony Hawk games. Throw the Thug ones out there. Throw Thaw out there.
Yeah, I'd like to see Project 8 get sort of like another, like a pass through, like because that was actually a pretty good game, but it kind of got lost in the shuffle because EA's Skate was just about to come out.
Sure, and everyone was getting kind of sick of Tony Hawk at the,
and everyone
at the
was
time.
Everyone was 100% sick of Tony Hawk at that point.
Right.
So just like I totally forgot that there was another game after Project 8 that was like a normal Tony Hawk game. I totally forgot about
Which one was the one with the Proving Ground? Was that the one with the skateboard controller?
No, that was that was a different one. No, Proving Ground was just like a weird, super gritty version of Project 8. It was odd. It was extremely weird.
Wow. But, again, they could just put a bunch of these suckers out there. People will lap these up. It's a very easy winnable situation. From that.
It's like there's no way I'm not buying this. I kind of tempted to get the deluxe edition because that deck looks sick. That comes with
it comes with the deck. Edition. That is pretty cool. And it's not that much more expensive with that deck, to be honest.
It's like $130, which a game and a birdhouse deck, not bad.
Yeah, for sure. But I'd be interested in this. I'm finally playing 1 and 2 because I got it for dirt cheap on the Switch. And I know everyone says that Switch is not the best place, but listen,
it's pretty good on the Switch, man. I got it for
the form factor of every other handheld device is still too big. It's gonna run better on the Steam Deck. It's gonna run better on the PlayStation Portal. If it'll run at all. But the Switch still has the best form factor and lightness for playing these. And it's like, that makes a big difference. So I'm willing to sacrifice some aspect of fidelity if the game is much easier for me to play. Anywho, this is coming out for PS.
Tony Hawk doesn't really benefit from the fidelity that much.
Right.
It still looked like even if it still looked like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 on the PlayStation 1, it would just still it's the gameplay that really shines.
And I mean, to be honest, there'll be this is coming out for every modern console, PlayStation 4 or 5, Xbox Series, still pumping stuff out for Xbox One because this is technically owned by Microsoft now. People do forget this is owned by Microsoft. This is a Microsoft property in it. So you
gotta remember that this was also this game was in existence and canned at one point.
That's right.
When pre-Microsoft Activision consumed Vicarious Visions into the Call of Duty machine.
I feel like this is also one of those times where Microsoft realized, hey, we need to kind of front load a lot of things right now this year to get a lot of stuff out there because otherwise they're gonna start falling behind. I don't know what other content they have coming out the second half this year. I'm sure we're gonna find out here shortly. In June is the whole Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase and all that kind of stuff. And they got was it South by Midnight or whatever that is? That game's coming out in April. And then the leak of Indie coming to PlayStation 5 in April, and then they
still have DLC for Indie too.
You got DLC for Indie coming, and is Doom 2026 or 2025?
I'm pretty sure it's this year.
It's this year. So you got Doom and you got Gears probably coming this year. So we'll see. Is Tony Hawk still relevant to gamers? I don't know if the kids even care about Tony Hawk, the person. They probably don't. But
he's super relevant to 40-year-old men.
Yes. So that's who's going to be buying this.
Yeah, and that's who this is really for. And I mean, you don't underestimate his social media presence because he was viral multiple times for just being sad Tony Hawk. You know,
and I posted
saw
today.
Your retweet. I saw your retweet.
We had brought up. I was talking to Dave, friend of the show, Dave Oshry, a while back, a few years ago. I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago at this point, about the infamous E3. I think it was 2009 or 2010. One of those where they were going to have one of the Tony Hawk games. And I think this was the big concert year. Eminem was performing. They had like a bajillion performers and acts, like really well known. I think Rihanna was there, Eminem, maybe even Kanye. I don't know. Everybody was there performing. Rock bands were there, DJs were there, and it was like their showcase. They were going to touch on music from all the different games, Call of Duty, whatever. They were going to have the next Tony Hawk game, which was already waning at that time. But Tony Hawk was supposed to be like the finale.
What year did you say?
I think it was like 2010 or 2011.
Let's see, because I think 2012 was that shitty HD remake.
Okay, then it must have been 2010. It was definitely 2010 or 2011. Anywho,
because 2009 was Ride, which was the physical one.
Okay, so it may have been the year after that. Either way, I remember me and Ryan Gann, actually, SideQuesting's Ryan Gann, were there at this concert. And we saw Tony Hawk, and he was up on the ramp. And he was waiting.
2010 was Shred, the sequel to Ride.
So that must be what it was. That must be what it was. And so, he's waiting on this ramp, and, like, you have all the music going, and we're waiting. We're like, is Tony Hawk going to do anything? Like, is he going to do anything special? And then, like, he just does one, finally, while the other bands are going, he just does like one little ollie, and that's it. Gets off this ramp, and then we come to find out they were supposed to lower this big ramp for him to do all these tricks, and they got stuck in the rafters in the arena, and they couldn't bring it down, so they had to scrap that whole big aspect, which is just indicative of where the Tony Hawk games are going. But anyways, Tony Hawk 3 and 4 are on their way back.
Tony Hawk, do you remember Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 and that whole clusterfuck?
I don't even remember that anymore. It's been so long. Not that I blocked it out, but I just don't remember that game at all.
It was a broken game, and it launched without the game on the disc. So you had to all you got was a tutorial, and then you had to download the entire game. So so it's a game that's literally unplayable now because if you bought a new copy, you can't do anything because it's not like the game's those servers are.
That's so right. That's so, I wonder if that's when they could release separately. There you go. That's the DLC. That's for this side. But speaking of Xbox, news broke today that there's some of Xbox's hardware plans are starting to come into focus. Maybe over at this is Windows Central. So you got Jez posting on Jez is like the Windows Xbox gaming guru over there, and Jez is kind of just saying basically they're going to have a handheld launching later this year, kind of a co-branded handheld. It's going to be an Xbox handheld, but it's going to be done by like Lenovo or ROG or someone else is going to be working on it, much like the Steam OS handhelds that Steam is licensing it out. Xbox is kind of doing this in supposedly a test bed to get a mobile version. It's Windows based. Get a mobile version of Windows up and running so they can see if this is something that people actually want. So this has been greenlit. It's launching later this year. So again, it's not a specific Xbox device. It is an Xbox Windows OS device that somebody else is handling.
I assume it would be. I feel like it would probably be Lenovo because.
Maybe, Lenovo.
Because the Ally, remember they partnered the Ally with to be one of the first Steam OS devices.
Yes.
So I feel like that's not the right business model for Microsoft.
I'm very curious about this because we're talking about it, and then so that's this year, and then a couple years from now in 2027 is the full next gen consoles. That's a long time. That's a long time away. But that's the next. That's when you're gonna get the actual Xbox the Microsoft Xbox handheld and Microsoft's next home device, the next Xbox. So.
Yeah, it's so funny to think about. Like, yeah, 2007's a long time away. However, they haven't done anything in this generation, like, at all, really.
Right.
I mean,
that's why it feels like it's so long
yeah,
away. Yeah, it feels like it's so long away.
Like, like we're just now getting to the point where they're phasing out Xbox One, PS4 versions, and they, as we saw with Tony Hawk, they're still putting out those versions.
Yeah. For some reason, they're still putting those suckers out. There must be enough people that play those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think no, it's interesting to me, and I think we had a good conversation in the Discord, which you should all join, about this and Microsoft's place in this ecosystem. As Matt Piscatella, friend of the show, Matt Piscatella over at Circana was noting, there's only been since the Steam Deck launched, and right around that time frame when all these handheld PCs launched, only 6 million total handheld PC devices have sold. That's across, obviously, Steam Deck is probably the majority of those are probably gonna get like 4.5 million are gonna be Steam Deck. You're gonna have the ROG Ally, you're gonna have the Logitech, you're gonna have the other cloud devices out there.
Oh yeah, NVIDIA. Logitech has that fucking cloud thing.
They all fit in that. They all fit in this thing, and it's like, oh, I mean, the PlayStation Portal, which I'm looking at, it's on the ground over here charging. That's probably sold as many Steam Decks as but so it's an interesting market. Is the Xbox able to capitalize on a market that's we feel like it's doing really well, but you look at the actual numbers, it's like it's doing, I guess it's doing okay, but I mean, we all love this Steam Deck. I think everyone on staff has at least one, but I'm very curious.
That's the thing about the Steam Deck is that, like, I don't think it hasn't penetrated the consciousness of people that don't visit video game websites.
Sure. It is still, like, you're right. It's still a niche. It's aimed at Steam people. Yeah.
I pulled it out at work a few times.
Your Steam Deck.
Hi-oh. And have had several people ask what it was because they don't know. Like, because it's not like you can go into the store and see it. It's not like you can. It's not like there's commercials airing for it. You basically, the advertising for the Steam Deck is like our website and the Steam homepage. Like, that's
completely agree. It's
but also, like, Steam's probably trying to figure that out, because, like, Steam Deck 2 is probably going to be the real Steam Deck. Like, this is more
powerful. It does everything.
We've figured it out. We've been cultivating all of your playtime data. All of you, thank you, beta testers. We figured it out, and Steam Deck 2 is officially the real Steam Deck 1, like.
and that's a smart way to go. Again, I love the Steam. I love what we've talked about this before. We love what the Switch has done. Yeah, the fidelity, quality, blah, 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 maybe not there, but it has gotten people to focus on gaming in a handheld mode again. Like, anything you say about the 3DS and the Vita, the Game Boy, and all those, my Playdate, those are great, but it's a hyper-focused small device. When you look at actual big gaming, the Switch did a lot for indies.
The one thing that the Steam Deck does that absolutely none of these other handheld PC devices don't do, and I assume will ever do, I don't expect the Xbox version to do this either, or whatever, is it just kind of works, and it tells you what's not going to work. I do not. It's not like I can boot up Game Pass on my Ally and have it tell me, "Yo, dog, this you can download Indiana Jones, but it's not. It doesn't say anything. You just have to spend hours downloading it just to discover that, like, nobody's skin is loaded in because the system can't handle it.
And so, like, the through line from the Switch getting folks to focus on a device like this because it became so popular. Steam was very right in, Valve was very right in making the Steam Deck, because it said, we're going to make a device here that that we think is going to penetrate a little bit of the market, enough of the market to get people to start focusing on developing games for really what this is it's one set of requirements. It's like everybody now can focus on a set of requirements.
This be, if you can, have this be your minimum system requirements.
Yes, exactly. It's like you're going to get, there's like 4 or 5 million people that are, again, the Steam Deck is great for someone like me because, and there you go, the deck verified status, but I guess even though it seems like it's like a big community, it's not have an Xbox big. And that's why I'm very curious. It's very true. I love the Xbox. I love Microsoft I'd love them to do this. I don't know how it's going to work because Windows gaming is very different than Xbox gaming. When you start including mice, you start including mouse, mouse and keyboard, you start including other devices, that kind of stuff. Steam is just having that, like you said, I can open up my Steam Deck and it says, here are all the games that will work for sure. Here are the games you own that will work, but with issues. And by the way, we've listed all the issues. Here are the games that we have not tested, and here are the games that definitely won't work with just a standalone Steam Deck. You have to add a mouse. You have to add this. And that's one thing that the Steam Deck did do really nicely is they have the touchpads. They have all kinds of stuff. And Microsoft needs to start to understand how people... I don't know if you can make a pure Xbox device. Like a pure Game Pass device isn't enough of a sale to me.
I don't think Microsoft truly understands how people interact with computers as a whole, even though they're the computer company. So
but just like you said with the Steam Deck 1 and Steam Deck 2, but by putting out a device this year that somebody else is handling, and they can brand it in Xbox. They can do whatever they want with it. It's meant to gather information and on who's buying it, how much sales they have. Is it worthwhile for Microsoft? I mean, for all intents and purposes, if they're launching in 2027, they're well into development of this handheld device, right? But you can pull the plug on a device at the last second before it goes into production. Even during production, we've seen it happen before. We've seen Phil Spencer with streaming boxes behind him and consoles behind him, the stuff that's never come out. So it is a good beta to have this out there because you can see, are they playing Xbox games more, like Game Pass? Are they streaming them more? Are they
just downloading Steam to this thing?
Are they just downloading Steam? And that's exactly. Is this becoming a Steam Deck with a little bit of Xbox stuff? Because at that point, you're like, Microsoft starts to think, maybe we should just make an app for Steam or whatever, So this actually is a very easy and a solid way for them to gather the info on what their users could potentially get. Now, interestingly enough, you get to 2027 with the next gen consoles. At that point, I mean, Taylor mentioned it in the Discord, the Xbox 360 was a massive success. I mean, we all basically that was, even though I think the PS3 outsold it worldwide, America, the West was all about the 360. Europe was about the 360, and
it's taking into account the fact that the first several years of the console was almost a wash for them since they had to recall pretty much all of them. Unofficially recall. They never really, it wasn't ever an official recall, but
they were because they were so innovative in the stuff that they were putting out, and they were really, looking at bringing in smaller teams. Like we talked about the Summer of Arcade was always initiatives. Even Connect.
Summer of Arcade was
Connect was. Summer Arcade was just perfect. It's where you discover stuff. So they're missing a lot of these because their focus is Game Pass, So but I think it's going to be.
I can tell you the last time I cycled through the Xbox game store to see what was out on the Xbox, just because I just go to the Game Pass app and see what's been uploaded to the Game Pass.
That's I kind of feel like that's what people are doing anyways now. They're going to the Game Pass app, and again, that's why I feel like Game Pass may end up being here are all the games you get for free, and here are the ones you have to pay. Like that may be the Microsoft Game Store, the Xbox Game Store going forward. Everything is in Game Pass, and you're just adding stuff on within Game Pass.
It needs to be like Voodoo, where it's just like, here are the free movies, and here are the movies you could buy, and they're all just kind of integrated into one singular.
And here are the movies you can play, but they have advertisements. The games you can play, but so putting out another premium device, I don't think you want to go with 2 levels of console. I think having a handheld is your Series S version, because that's your bottom. I don't say bottom feeder, but that's your minimum requirement. And then you have the whatever the actual Xbox Prime or whatever the premium that they're going to have. That is the Xbox. Just call it Xbox. Don't call it Xbox.
You need to be able to maneuver through its UI with the joysticks. If you can't do that, it's going to get ripped. Sure.
Yep. So very interesting to see. I mean, I reckon Microsoft is actually very good at, because they've already mentioned that they're working on the next Xbox. They've already talked about but could that be an Xbox Pro? Like, that may have been, remember, because that leaked a while back, and then it never ended up materializing the same way. I feel like they're very good about getting ahead of these leaks and getting ahead of this stuff. So I would not be surprised
that they just haven't gone the Apple route, and it's just like, here's the next revision of our game console,
Yeah. But exactly. I mean, keep pumping up those revisions. And that was the original plan, right? They were going to do these regular-ish revisions every 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
And they have that program where you can just upgrade your system and stuff. That whatever that, I forget what they call that thing.
Yeah, but they never did anything. You never upgraded from an Xbox One to an Xbox Series S.
Because it doesn't make any sense when the generational gaps are 5-6 years or whatever. It's
after your lease already ran out, exactly.
Yeah, it's like with Apple, okay, well, in 2 years my cell phone contract is up, and I'm going to be able to upgrade to the next iPhone, and and pay. I can either pay $1,400 out of pocket, or
maybe that's something that Xbox includes as well. Get them some cell phone service built into the Xbox, so you're never not connected.
See, that's one thing. That's one thing that hasn't really been figured out for the handheld gaming market.
Didn't the Vita have that?
The Vita did. The initial Vita had 3G. You had a SIM card, you'd put it in there, and you could do 3G. It didn't really work that great. Nobody really understood the concept.
Back then, it was 2012,
Yeah, where you're like, what do you mean I have to pay extra $5 a month to use 3G? But nowadays, I think that's something that needs to be explored by somebody.
Yeah. So, the console market in 2 years is could potentially be vastly different. So
that's sort of that is one of the big things. Like the Switch kind of has a built-in concept of it's a handheld system, so it doesn't need to do that online handshake as often.
Right.
As something, but Steam really, really wants you to do that handshake all the time. And when you're not home, you have to I guess I have to hook it up to my phone for a minute so I can play Tony Hawk offline, and then
one last little bit of news here. Death Stranding, baby. Death Stranding 2 now has a release date of June.
Boy, I did not think just a few months away.
Same. I was thinking, okay, October. October sounds good. You launch this later in the year. You don't have to. But this is Kojima-san. He can do whatever he wants. And
nobody's gonna stop him.
Yeah. He's the one that's leading this because he wants to get onto the other projects.
He wants to focus on OD, and he wants to focus on the film project thing that he's working on. So and like I said in the Discord, you can tell that this game was just absolutely draining the life out of him.
I think you're right. You look at the pic. I think he posted a picture of him and Jeff Keighley, and both of them look very tired and very aged. But June 26th, I've only maybe put an hour total in the original Death Stranding. So my goal is now in June 26th, everybody says, I'm totally going to put all these hours into it. Notwithstanding that the Switch 2 is probably going to launch in June as well. So
he should put Death Stranding. He should put Death Stranding 1 on the Switch too.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is something that
it's on fucking iPhone. I put it
Yeah,
on the Switch. Yeah. I like that the idea of this game is like game one, we should reconnect America, and game two is, oh no, we fucked up. We should not have reconnected America.
Yeah. Whoops. There's a cool, cool video here too that they had. This was like a
It is a
10-minute.
Kojima's Hell trailer, man. Love to see it.
Totally. And he's just freaking awesome. Like he has moved past being a game director, and like he is fully embracing like art, just art in general, whether it's interactive or it's movies or whatever, it's books.
I am in the middle of playing Metal Gear Solid 4 again, and it's extremely funny to play that game because like I think I said it on Blue Sky or something. I was like, it's really funny to get like a 15-minute cutscene of you saving somebody, then a 15-minute cutscene of them explaining your illness, another 15-minute cutscene explaining why you're gonna die, like a 12-minute cutscene of like setting up a boss fight, and then like 35 minutes of more cutscenes. It's just real king shit stuff, man. I love it. Nobody was telling Kojima no in especially with Metal Gear Solid 4. Like that was him completely unchained. And it's the game that made Konami like, okay, guy.
Yep. It's funny because Exagermoose just mentioned our fantasy draft projections, and I'm Death Stranding 2 on the beach is now my next one. Unfortunately, I had Split Fiction, which is awesome. That was great. Yeah. And the next game I had, you have to pick. Like the next thing I had was expansion packs, and that was Golden Idol, The Sins of the New Wells, and there's no reviews for that anywhere. So I don't think. But then I got this sucker coming, so there you go. Yeah. I've got good karma heading in there. But yeah, Death Stranding. How fast do you think Konami's going to announce that Metal Gear Solid? Now
that this has a release date in like 2 months, like 3 months.
They're gonna be like, "It's coming in May."
Yeah, boy, for me personally, I hope so. But
yeah. I think
it's funny when I like this trailer because when they show Deborah Wilson, she's got 2 right hands, and it's very upsetting.
That's awesome.
At
least it's not AI, and she's a doctor.
Yeah.
Excellent. So yeah, that's the news of the day.
The Silent Hill thing in a couple of days.
Oh yeah, there's a Silent Hill thing in a couple of days.
I've been hungry for Silent Hill Forte news, so I'm excited.
I'm with the success of Silent Hill 2, people have Silent Hill on their mind, so this will be
it's perfect timing, really.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, but the problem is that Silent Hill Forte is going to be a completely different style of game. It's not going to. It's going to cash in on the name, but not necessarily the people that like Silent Hill 2.
I do want to bring up before we get into the games we've been playing. We had a couple questions. We had one question from the. From the Super SideQuesting Discord for the Patreon. We're going to try to get these questions out ahead of time now, asking the questions. And this is from Zero the Prototype. And he asks, why is Mario so petite? And is his anatomy fully proportional? So Zero asks, why is Mario so petite? And is his anatomy fully proportional? I'm going to let you answer because you said you actually had a
but my answer to it is I don't think Mario's petite. I just think the Mushroom Kingdom's fucked up.
There you go. I love that answer. Everything's too. You've played the version of the level in Mario Brothers 3 where everything's giant. There you go.
Yeah, but think about it. If you're regular Mario and you get to the end of the stage, Peach and Toad are massive in comparison to you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the ones on mushrooms.
The only way you match their size is if you're Super Mario. And that's not his default size because he's Super Mario. So his default size is really tiny, but that's just normal where he's from. Everything else is just he's the size of a Goomba normally. Like it's just the modders have been muddied in recent years, but but that's my thing. I just think the Mushroom Kingdom's fucked up.
I like that. Yeah, it's a good Mario Day question. I like that. That's good. I was gonna say that he just stands in front of like the circus mirrors all the time. So
I was gonna say it's like he's just
Mario is normal. See, Mario's normal.
Mario's normal.
You asked the question.
It's the sequel. It's the sequel to Mario is Missing. Mario is normal. It's just
perfect.
And I thought you were gonna say he's just standing slightly in the background. So he
maybe you tilt shift photography. Photography. So I have you and I both picked up the Rocksmith on Steam on the Steam sales and all that kind of
Ubisoft. Did you get all your stuff?
Let me show you.
Hell yeah!
As I hang myself. So I got my very first actual. Oh, get over here. The very first actual guitar. Look at it. It's not a Rock Band guitar. It's a real guitar. It's a Donner. And Donners are good for. They're like very good beginners guitars. This sucker was like 100 and something, like 130, I think, 140, no, 140, somewhere around there. But very good, really nice quality. I love this color. I got it for this color. It's a beautiful color, really nice.
It's a hot rod color.
Yeah, now a hot rod. I mean, it reminds me of like the old like Chevy Bel Airs, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So got it for that reason. The wrapping, the plastic's still on there, but I'll be, to get the strings are all covered. I love it. So yeah, I'll be playing with this. I'm gonna hook it up to the to Rocksmith and get this sucker going. I had to order a stand because I thought it came with this like a little stand. It did not, so I can display this sucker in the corner. Again, the nice thing about this Donner is that it comes with a tiny little amp, all the cords and like all the other stuff that you need. Which it was either this or the Squire that I was looking at. There's like a little cheaper Squire or like a lower level Squire that looked good too. Similar and very, very close in price.
Wait for a second. I'll be right back. Just a second.
Yeah, very close. Maybe his computer might be up and running finally. It was very close in price, but it ended up not having like connections and an amp and that kind of stuff. And I do want to have a little bit of an amp, and this has an app with it too, and some of the chords, so that I could, actually hear stuff that I'm playing. Otherwise, I have to buy. I mean, granted, I'm a DJ. I have a lot of the gear here already. I have like a giant amp in the, 2 amps in the garage, but I wanted something that played well. So it's very well recommended. Like every other reviews that I did online, or I looked at online, talked about how great that this guitar actually is for the money. It's fantastic. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's it. It's a good, we're going to have our color. There's yours. Yeah.
I have an acoustic guitar. I got a Fender.
So my goal is I actually do want to move on to acoustic. And you're doing the cool sort of microphone thing.
Yeah. It's got a microphone option, and it works better than I kind of expected it to. Mm-hmm. I got this a couple of years ago. Like it was like a Black Friday sale at Guitar Center.
Nice.
Because I always wanted to learn to play just pluck at an acoustic guitar, and I sort of hit a brick wall like learning.
Yeah.
My fingers
Everyone does that.
Yeah, my fingers don't really I can't figure out my finger placement on the frets as well.
Yep.
And I just sort of, so I started it on the a little bit. I don't want to be irritating to other people in the house.
Sure.
So I sort of choose my time wisely, but the UI for Rocksmith actually does a really good job at sort of leading my fingers onto the neck.
Nice.
On the fretboard, because it even uses like the whatchamacallit, the whatever, the little markers that they have. I don't know what to call any of this function. But like it does a good job at sort of leading you, and it starts really slow, and I'm starting to know where my hand placement needs to be and stuff. Nice. So it's really nice, and
that's what I want to do, man. I want to try to. I'm getting this thing so I could get my hand placement, get my fingers moving correctly. I mean, and then I can move on to the acoustic later, because I do really want to play acoustic. But I unless I can build up where things need to be, with a guitar. From like the electric is obviously easier through Rocksmith because
because it's got that cable.
And I got the special cable here that does that and stuff. So Yeah, and then I got to build up those calluses with an acoustic. But this is something that I'm starting one way. You're starting with acoustic, and it'll be PAX East. We're gonna be rocking out at PAX East.
I am not
No, I'm not
bringing my acoustic guitar.
No, me neither.
We just played Wonderwall together.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And I have the little clip it on your neck like tuner, so you know
Sweet.
what.
Yeah, this has a tuner as well, same kind.
And I was actually really impressed because I was comparing it to the one that's sort of built into Rocksmith.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the microphone, they agreed with one another.
That's cool.
So
it's like
that's why I have faith that the microphone situation is good.
Good. I will look into that. Obviously, as soon as I get comfortable enough with this, I'm gonna look into that. And what's really kind of funny is that it reminds me a little bit of, you mentioned that the technology sort of agreed that way.
Yeah,
it's a little bit like so I have the Apple Watch to track my heart rate, workouts when I'm working out, everything, and I have the Switch. I have a Ring Fit Adventure, which still one of the best workouts, hands down. Still to this day. The game is 6 years old. To this day, it's still one of the best workouts possible. I still love Ring Fit. But you can actually use the Switch Joy-Con and you put your thumb over the infrared reader, and it can measure your heart rate. So it's after you do a run or whatever, it says you want to measure your heart rate to check what your heart rate's at. I'm like, well, let me see how these line up. So you hold the Switch Joy-Con, you put your thumb over the reader there and the infrared reader, and I'm looking at my watch and I'm looking at the readout that comes in, and they were exactly the same. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty wild that they're that close. So it's cool stuff. Technology, man. Yeah, you and I will keep playing around with this. I'm very interested to see how long this keeps my attention. My goal is to either learn one thing a month or accomplish like some small goal per month. Like January and February for me were like fitness and not spending any money, and that was fantastic. I did not spend any money.
In my bank account.
Here's cash in my bank account, and I'm like knocking my credit card bill. It's looking very good. And then March is music. I've always wanted to learn guitar, and this I sold, like you did the same thing. Sold a bunch of stuff. I sold like a couple jerseys, a bunch of Legos from Lego Dimensions. Those things finally came into sale ability, and so I sold a few things, and I'm like, I can get this guitar, and that's what I did. Got the guitar, and then now I'm gonna this month is kind of playing and learning and going from there. So it should be a lot of fun.
I don't even necessarily care about needing to learn to play something specifically. I just want to be able to play. I spent a lot of time in music. Like I was in band and choirs and things. So it's like I have pitch, but not necessarily tone, kind of thing. I understand sheet music and how things are supposed to sound, but
I don't understand sheet music at all. And
I can't replicate it over here. So.
I mean, one of my goals, because again, I DJ, even though I'm retiring from DJing, like events and stuff.
Yeah, you worked more in your retirement than you did during.
Yeah, but I can charge more money on doing it, which is great. But one of my goals is I'm only doing like 2 or 3 events a year now, so everything's super manageable. But I'm like, it'd be kind of fun to take my guitar with me, and as I'm playing a song, on the thing, I can actually strum along, and then you can kind of go back and forth. So I'm like, it'd be kind of a cool little additional.
Start blasting the NWA game.
Let's move on to things we've actually been playing. And if you guys want to know, the best viewers on Streamboo remove the space. So there you go. Good to know. But I'm going to hop into what I've been playing real quick. Again, still plowing through Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because it is a long-ass RPG. And I'm like, cool, I'm like 25 hours in. There's like 7 or 8 chapters. I'm like, I'm almost done with I'm getting ready to get into chapter 4. I'm like, I'm going to plug through this thing. I might get done by by the time Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out. And then I was talking to a friend of mine on Blue Sky today, David Letkovage, super cool dude. And he was mentioning, he's like, Yeah, it took me like 100, 130 hours to clear that. I'm like, oh my god! And he talked to like Zach and to Taylor, and same thing. They're like, yeah, you're gonna put in 80 to 100 hours. I'm like, oh man, yeah, I thought I was like more than I was like moving along at a very big clip, but I'm not. So, anyways, I love this game. It's great. But I want to get into the game that I've been playing for review. And JJ, I mentioned this game to you a little bit already, and I can actually talk a little bit now that the embargo is up. I like you. I love to play. I grew up playing games throughout, like games in the 80s and 90s. Those are some of my best memories are from that time because, especially from a PC standpoint, there was so much innovation as people were trying to figure out what games needed to be. Edutainment was a big aspect of that era, and I talked about Oregon Trail. We've talked about other edutainment games.
Yeah,
One
that's
of the
good. I thought I missed you reviewing this, so I'm glad
no
to
no
be
no
here.
no the one of the games that I absolutely loved growing up. We had what was like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, and they made a few spin-offs. They made Where in the World. There's Where in the USA, Where in Time. I think there was Where in Europe. We had Where in Europe is Carmen Sandiego. And I loved it because you learn. It's a trivia thing. You're actually learning facts, and they gave you this like small pamphlet book to read through. That gave you the information that you needed to go back in. But this again well before the internet in the 80s, mid to late 80s, and so you're kind of stuck. Whatever is on this pamphlet in this little mini guide they gave you, if it's not there, you have to go to you have to go to the library to figure.
Yeah, you gotta get yourself an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
A real map.
So when they announced, they announced the show was coming back, there was a show, so they had the show that came out in like 2019, 2020, 2021, that time frame. Fairly
That's
good,
a good show.
interesting. Yeah, actually good, interesting, entertaining show. Great characters, great animation style. There's finally a game coming out for that show, cashing in. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? And it is but it's based on the original idea of what Carmen Sandiego is. So again, I'm playing this on Switch. You can actually play this on Netflix right now. So if you have a Netflix, go just hop into your phone or a lot of other devices and play. But I'm playing it on Switch. And essentially what this game is, it takes the classic idea of Carmen Sandiego of you have this time frame where you have to capture someone. In this game, you are playing as Carmen Sandiego. In the past, you are playing as a detective on the trying to get Carmen Sandiego, trying to find her, and because she's on the run. So in this case, you're looking for this group called Vile. Oh, great. And it is so you're hopping around different parts of the world. You go from city to city. You'll look at all these different kind of monuments and areas, and you get to kind of track these individuals there. So let me share this experience, this video right now. So the game itself kind of takes place from it's an adventure game. There's a little bit of like point and click, and there's a little bit of point and click. There's a little bit of tech stuff. There's a little bit of you're moving around in a third person, overhead isometric. There's actually some action sequences in a weird way. But we have, again, like I said, we have a set amount of days. Like the first mission is like 7 days, so that means every time you fly somewhere, they kind of give you this map, and you can kind of choose from different, like 2 or 3 different destinations. Every time you fly somewhere, you're using up hours. You're using up a day, and then every task you do, let's say if you go to Rio de Janeiro and you can go to a museum, you can go to a market, you can go to the beach. You go to those things, you start using up an hour here, an hour there. You're talking to people, you have an hour to talk to someone, whatever. So you're using up time doing all these things, right? And that's just to kind of start collecting clues. And you get the clues to find out where this this person is, and you can kind of see in the videos here. It shows, you have the collection of this cast of characters. Depending on what clues you have, just like in those classic games, you can start to piece together which of these agents it is that you're looking for. Like in the very first one, it's like, it's someone with brown hair, and they're not right-handed. It's like, oh, okay. So you just look for the person who's left-handed and has maybe they're whatever. But not right-handed could also mean that they're ambidextrous, that they're whatever. So and it says they don't like seafood, but there's like 10 different types of foods. So you start to pull these hints together. It's kind of like that the Who Lives in the Pink House type of thing, right? Those old little puzzles that we played when we were younger. You have to kind of
guess. It's guess who. Does he wear glasses?
It's kind of it's guess who. And so you get these clues. You get, for instance, you go to one cafe and it kind of leads you to figure out who those specific people are. It says that maybe they're in New Orleans. You go to New Orleans, and all of a sudden in New Orleans you have to actually chase this person through the streets, but you have to duck out of the way when they turn around. So there's a little bit of a sneaking, like 3D sneaking game attached to it. So it's almost like a series of mini games. You kind of see them in some of these videos, and you have to pickpocket them. And then another one is you have to use a glider because they're running fast, and you have to use this glider to kind of launch yourself through the city and go through certain obstacles. Another one is you have a puzzle that you have to do because you're linking aspects of a circuit together. So a lot of those types of things. So there's the classic Carmen Sandiego stuff in there where you're trying to find the person, find out which person it is, and find out where they're located based on specific hints and aspects of geography. But there's also, there's for the modern and the young sensibilities. This game is geared towards young people. There's some light action sequences. So, like even stuff like opening up, cracking a safe open or completing a circuit, like I said. So they did a surprisingly nice job of translating that old game. The visual style isn't great. It doesn't look good on the Switch. I've looked at it, looked at screenshots and stuff on the Steam Deck and all that kind of stuff on my phone. That version, it's not a great looking game for my standard. For a kid who's like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, this is totally fine. I mean, this is what they're looking for because it looks like the TV show. So
there are moments where it looks like Fortnite.
It does, and I think they purposely designed some of this to look like that. Some of the UI, because that's what the kids are used to. They're used to Fortnite. Yeah. If you go to, like I said, you go to the wrong city, you lose time, blah blah. But I love the time-based aspect of this, and to me, that's always been some of the funnest part of Carmen Sandiego games. Is you're trying to track down stuff and do things before time runs out. So there was a moment, I think, like on the 5th or 6th mission that I was playing, where I started to think, oh, I may have gone to the wrong city, and I've only gotten one tiny little clue out of this, but I've lost like 2 days worth of travel. It's going to be very tight for me to get to catch this person in, wherever they are, in Paris or wherever. It's like, I actually may not make it in time. And then if you do script, I did take the chance to try to mess up on purpose and see what happens when things run out. The game's very forgiving. You can, even if you miss, you still get plenty of opportunities to redo stuff and do missions, that kind of stuff. Because you still are hunting for sort of the same evil agents, vile, which is evil, agents across the world. You still got to capture them anyway. So I like that it has an in-game book, so you can kind of list out all those hints and the tips and who these people are and any rumors you come across. And you can actually put up it lets you kind of store the information about the geography too, which is kind of nice. I mean, we live in a world of internet. You could literally have your game console on one side and just hop online. And it's like, okay, where is this famous person? Like, one of the first people I think I think her name was Marie Laveau, and she was the Queen of New Orleans. I'm like, I could Google
the Queen of New Orleans,
Queen of New Orleans.
The Voodoo Queen.
Yeah, exactly. I could Google that. That's fine. But it's not necessarily those facts. It's which are the correct facts. How do you link these facts together? And it's guess who, but it's done in a really kind of interesting way. And I'm really surprised at how they were able to pull this off and make it enjoyable. It can kind of drag on a little bit because you are doing these same types of things over and over and over again. But that was the original game, as the original series as well was. You're just constantly going around the world solving, getting these clues, getting these hints, solving these little puzzles, and trying to catch these people. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mobile game. Again, I think that's just the back end of this because it was a Netflix thing. It's designed for kids, designed for phones. The UI is nice and chunky.
Does the touchscreen stuff work on the Switch?
No, it doesn't. Touchscreen stuff does not work on the Switch, which is kind of a bummer because you'd think that would have been the perfect thing to put on there, but no. I think it's good. It's good edutainment. It's masked well as teaching. It's definitely like it's masked well enough. It's like the kids are not going to know that they're learning stuff, but they're definitely learning stuff. And that's what I loved about the original games in this series. Is that you didn't realize you were learning things. Like we would play this and Oregon Trail after we're done with our classwork, like in our computer lab in 1987 or 88, whatever it was. It's like, all right, you guys have the next 15 minutes free to play whatever you want, or 20 minutes, whatever to play. It's like, it was this game. And you're sitting there and you're playing this and you're like, oh, all right, Luxembourg, and there's a prince and there's this, and you're like learning this kind of stuff. And it's like, wow, we just learned a bunch of like, it's trivia, but you're still learning things. And that was pretty cool. So
do you remember these that they were selling not that long ago?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
There is a Carmen Sandiego one of these.
Is there really? Oh,
that
cool.
I could never find. Like, this is the Oregon Trail one.
Yeah, that was the little handheld portable device thing.
Yeah, there is an OG. They did an OG Carmen Sandiego one that I could absolutely never find. It bummed me out because I was way more interested in that one. Oregon Trail's cool, but I like Carmen Sandiego.
So, I will say though, so the review unit they gave me, the review copy, also comes with the first DLC, which is it's sort of a separate little mini campaign within the game, but it's the 8-bit game. It literally is the classic game with slightly, it's like 8-bit, 16-bit visual style, because it's just single screens. But that captures that original feel, and it's so good. It even references the 80s games a lot. Like there's a lot of little references down to like saying is, like there was one moment where somebody says, you have to look at the 1985 manual to get the answer to this. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's so perfect. So that's just Google now, but still. So anyways, surprised by how much I enjoyed this. I wasn't expecting a lot going into it. I thought maybe it's, just kind of a kid's thing, and it is a kid's thing, but it's just interesting to start doing the cork board on a wall and trying to capture these folks, and enjoyable character design, enjoyable character, a lot of really great characters. Story is whatever. It's just, hey, we have to capture, Dr. Purple or whatever. We have to go to this town. So there's not really much of a story, but overall, I mean,
and they look at the camera and say, "Do it, Rockapella!" And
yeah. So,
now hear me out. David Cage's "Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?"
Where in the multiverse is Carmen Sandiego? But no, this is it. Good game. I can definitely say that it's worth checking out. If you got Netflix on your phone, I'm loading it up right now. Go ahead, Carmen. I think Carmen Sandiego is right on there. I think it's released right now. Let me check here as we're talking. But you can definitely, let's see, mobile games. There's the Love is Blind mobile game. I do a search for Carmen Sandiego. I'm sure I never looked at that. I never look at those. Here it is, Carmen Sandiego. Bam, here it is. Yep.
She'll steal your soul in
It is
South Korea,
it is
make
right
Antarctica
there.
cry
So
uncle.
go ahead, get it. It's just a great toilet game if that's what you're gonna look for. But
Don't. That's not the back of the box blurb. Great toilet game.
Don't worry, I'm gonna cut that part out of this.
Skippity game.
AJ, what have you been playing, buddy?
I've got one review, one not review.
Okay.
You sent me the code, and I remember you talking about this from SGF, I think, or something.
Okay.
It was Mainframes.
Oh yeah.
And it certainly seems more refined from like the stuff you were talking about, the footage you were showing.
Yeah.
SGF
Let me get
thing.
this loaded up for you. Keep talking.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look, it's a small little guy.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know what this genre is. It's very. It's Meat Boy like angry platformer. I don't really know. But it's just one of those platformers that is designed to kill you ad infinitum until you figure it out. Which is fine as long as the gameplay loop is fast, and this game does have that fast gameplay loop. Like if you mess up, it just you're like, oh, here you go, it's right to the, because it's single screens. That's the most important part with this kind of thing for me, as far as I'm concerned. I like little single screen, what's effectively puzzles to solve.
Right.
You know, it's platforming. You know, it's puzzles disguised as platforming. Which I like that style of game. That's why Meat Boy really just kind of like was such a thing for so long. Just single screen. You get to take it all in. You look at it. You know what the mechanics are, and you just kind of have to put the pieces together. And sort of conceptually, this game is like a corrupted computer, and you're just a little guy that has break-in containment, essentially.
Like a little disc-looking dude, yeah.
Yeah, you're a little diskette guy, and then even when you at the beginning, they're like, "Hey, man, what are you doing? This isn't what you're supposed to be. This isn't safe. What the hell are you doing?" And then from there, you just sort of platform around the world. There's all kinds of like all the red stuff will kill you. Some windows you can move around and manipulate using like, I'm playing it on the Switch, so it's like right stick is your mouse, and you can move certain windows around, and you're gonna start placing platforms in certain areas so you can like clear things, and you got a little double jump so you can do wall jumps and stuff. And some of them have different interactive elements that will like send you in different directions and stuff. So you just got to you can see in that window right there where there's like the lines are showing you where it's gonna. But one cool thing that's really cool about it is just that there's kind of stuff everywhere. Like you're sitting there and you see like that looks like it could be an exit or a secret, and like you'll get there and you'll get to like a special section where it'll be like, oh, you gotta lead this dude to safety, and it has its own unique sort of like non-traditional gameplay element in there where it's like they are synced to your move. So it's kind of like that game that I reviewed a while ago, Ugly or something, where it's just like when you like you're going in opposite directions, so you want to stop at a wall, and but they'll keep moving, and then you got to move the box around. So when you jump, they're going to jump, but they're going to jump through the danger zone, and even though you're not, and it's going to reset the whole thing. So you have to figure out like where the box needs to be. So when you jump, they jump to safety, and you cross paths or what. It does some really cool. It's not complicated in the traditional sense. It's just that the platforming's difficult, but not frustratingly so. And it's fast. It moves really well. It's really like the vibe. It's got good vibes to it when you're playing it. And there's like I said, there's all these like
that's important for sure in these types of games. Yeah.
And it has a really good aesthetic. Like the weird. It doesn't feel like a Windows PC. It feels like an MSX or something like it's like a British PC, you know, like that kind of thing. Like you're playing on a ZX Spectrum or something, as opposed to like a Windows 3.1 or something. But it manages to have its own unique aesthetic that is reminiscent of an aesthetic you and I are familiar with in terms of computers and stuff. It's chill. It's And it's very move forward. There's not a whole lot of going back to do stuff. Like, I couldn't do this before, but now I gotta go back. And it's a lot of times it's just like, if you missed it, you missed it. You're just barreling forward, man.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of secrets just kind of hidden everywhere, and just like I said, there are points where it's just like, is that the next screen or is that the next screen? I'm going to go to that one, and then you go to that one, and it is the next screen, and you just kind of keep moving forward, and you've completely missed a special area or something. So it's small and short enough to where it benefits.
Cool.
Like, you can go back, just start a new game, you just see the stuff you didn't see, and it's real. The only thing that I don't like the feeling of the platforming as much as I would like. It's really floaty. It doesn't feel like you have a lot of weight, which, I mean, makes sense. I mean, it is like you're a digital diskette. You're the save icon, essentially, in this world, so you wouldn't have any weight to you. But I kind of wish it had a little more weight to it. But it also helps when you're doing some of the more floaty, like, if you see some of the things, there are like these little blue boxes with arrows that are pointing. So when you go, it's going to send you up. You can use your double jump to get you to the next one. It's going to send you wherever the arrow's pointing, and you can use your double jump again and stuff. And being floaty helps with that kind of stuff, especially getting over some what to your eye looks a little difficult. Of like, I'm not going to be able to clear that, but because your guy's so light, you can really get some momentum going. And there's zones where it's like, okay, when you enter this zone, you can't do your double jump, like the black stuff and things like that. But yeah, it's clean, it's fun, it's
Sweet.
it tickles that part of the brain that doesn't really get used very much in this type of game. I especially like just like entering a new area, because they never just throw you into danger. You sit there and you can see all the stuff in front of you, and you have interactive stuff, and you can just sort of like methodically, you're not on a timer or anything, in a traditional sense. I mean, there is speedrunning stuff that goes on and stuff, but like, you can just sort of methodically, like, okay, this needs to be here, 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 and then you can start your run. It's like, well, that didn't work, and you just kind of start at the beginning at the screen again, and then you realize that sometimes you just have to do it while moving. Like, I have to be in the box and move it while doing, like, so yeah, I like it. It's got a good visual language to it. So
I like how it sort of I remember from my early on previews of this thing, you start off by, just like every other game in this, I don't want to say in the genre, but like a lot of platformers with a lot of things going on, you start off by just kind of learning how to control, because you're jumping, but you're also, like you said, you're kind of controlling windows, you're controlling things on the screen in certain ways. But then from what the trailers and stuff, and none of this was actually in the preview things that I did a while back, stuff starts to glitch out. Like, things are starting to happen in this, and that's where
the
the story is.
The boxes, the aesthetic, the sort of, it's mostly visual storytelling in this thing. And the further in you get, the more sort of disjointed things get, but like the core mechanics stay the same, and it doesn't spend a lot of time holding your hand. It really just does use visual storytelling to let you know that, like, you're gonna figure out. Like, it's like the first Goomba in Super Mario Brothers. Like, I understand what you're telling me. If I let it touch me, I die. If I jump over it or on it, and that's what the entire game's going to be based around. And a lot of that is going on here. So it's not reinventing the genre. It's not really doing anything like crazy. It's just solid. It's functionally solid, and I think it's well worth your time. If like this kind, I guess, angry platformer, I don't know what the best way to call it is, but if this kind of if this type of platforming tickles you, then you're going to get a lot out of it. I did. I really liked it. I'm glad I reviewed this. I think it was
sweet,
well worth my time, and it's got some really cool, goofy computer shit going on. So I appreciate that.
Great.
Old style bits and goofs that play out sometimes.
What else have you been playing? You mentioned
WWE 2K25.
Oh, okay. Tell me about this.
So first of all, there's 3 versions. The game's technically not out yet. It's an early I got the Bloodline edition because I'm going to anyways. And the Bloodline edition just lets you play it on Friday, well, technically Thursday night for me. And it's just that they really went above for like last year's game was a marked improvement on everything.
Okay, yeah, you've talked about that before, and I have it on the PlayStation Plus thingy. So
they really aesthetics were overhauled. You remember if you remember WWE had these games had issues, especially after THQ Ukes sort of fell out of the whole thing. They brought in a new team, and then that just sort of like that game where it was so bad that they skipped a year. Can't remember what it was. Was it 2K20? I think
something like that. Yeah, I think
it was so bad where everybody just kind of had the same face. It was and it glitched out everywhere. It's not to say that this game still doesn't glitch out a lot, but it's more of the sort of like Bethesda style glitching where at least it's funny and not just like I just want to play my game.
Sure.
It looks beautiful. They've fixed a lot of they've added a lot of new visual flares to it. The wrestlers like get welted up and bruised and stuff throughout the game. So it's like, so they got that stuff. They got like stuff like face paint wears off, mist and powder stays on the face. They've added some new match types to it. There's this one called like Bloodline rules where you can call in help at any time, like just push like a button combo and it calls in for run-ins and stuff. It's kind of neat. That's not to say it doesn't have all of the same problems that I hate with a lot of these 2K games.
Sure.
So a lot of the stuff, even with the Bloodline edition where you get like a quick unlock pack, it doesn't unlock everything. Which is kind of irritating. Like, I don't want to play through some of these modes. Like, I don't find the My Rise is sort of their career mode, but it's so hokey and long. And it's like, I just want to play as Scott Steiner 2003. Why do I have to play through this whole mode? It still has the weird, what Madden fans like. It's the WWE version of Ultimate Team. So there's a lot of cards and stuff, and like they lock a lot of characters behind these cards. Not necessarily like versions of characters or whatever. I do want to play as Big Papa Pump. That's what I'm trying to unlock.
Yeah.
That's why I'm playing My Rise.
University of Michigan's own Big Papa Pump.
Yeah, they gave me. I have Steiner Brothers, Scott Steiner unlocked, but nobody wants to play as that version of Scott Steiner. I want to play as the Big Bad Booty Daddy. So like they have these things called Persona cards, and it's like you get the Persona cards from the packs, but the packs are like locked behind their virtual currency, and it's like you can either earn it extremely slowly or spend $50 for like one character essentially.
Right. Yeah.
And it has the showcase mode, which is actually a mode that I like. They do it every year, and it's sort of like it takes sometimes a concept or sometimes an era or whatever. Sometimes it's like play through the greatest hits of the Attitude Era, blah blah blah. This one is Bloodline themed, and it's hosted by Paul Heyman, and it's fantastic. And so you just kind of play through like Bloodline stuff. It's like, and not just that. It's like you play as like Alpha and Sika and like Peter Maivia and things like that. Like it has like the bloodline, like the family tree is in this game. It's a neat mode, and even some of them are like undo the wrongs that happened and have Yokozuna win or what or whatever. So that's cool. And they have this new mode called The Island,
Yeah, I'm curious about this one. All right, tell me about this.
It's a mess right now because the game is still technically not released. I've had it crash on me a couple of times, but it is like it's a live service game essentially. It has like a open hub world where you are created wrestler and a bunch of other created wrestlers are walking around. You're wrestling for like standing and like
is
have
it like
matches.
the Street Fighter 6 kind of hub thing as well?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's gross though. I was kind of messing around with it because like in order to get stats on your wrestler, you need to spend virtual currency, which is also the currency you can use to buy the WWE the cards to get like that the weird I forget what they call the mode now. It's escaping me, but yeah, it's definitely a cash grab mode. Like it's designed like, oh, I need to get my wrestler better, so I'm gonna spend $25 on virtual currency to give him better stats. And you can, it's a wrestling game, so it's not necessarily pay to win. Even if the stats are perfect, it's still you can still beat somebody. Like it's not that. But overall, like the gameplay, the new stuff that they've added, it's added a third person camera, which is insane.
Oh, it's wild, yeah.
So you go into it, so instead, because the right stick is used to like manipulate your opponent or something, pick them up, flip them around or whatever. But when you're in third person mode, it moves the camera. So you have to like hold a button and use the R stick to do it. Like it changes the gameplay mechanics kind of a bit, but it's neat. It's kind of disorienting, but it's kind of neat. But
the visuals look great. I mean, they've done a great job.
I got it on PS5. It's a great looking little game, and I guess it runs pretty well on Steam Deck from what I've read. So yeah. These games are fun. Even you don't have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy these. I think the gameplay's loop and these wrestling games are really fun. A lot of people used to love WWF No Mercy on the N64, even though they weren't wrestling fans, because they were great party games. My GM is one of my favorite modes, where you take over the GM of a guy. You pick your GM, or you can create a GM, and each GM has their own different perks. You draft a team, and you just kind of play through it. You're trying to earn money. It's a resource management sim with wrestling built in. And a cool thing that they added this year is that you can do My GM mode online, which is kind of sick, and I kind of want to find somebody to My GM with now. So
that's cool. Yeah, the one thing with sports games especially is that over the years, and 2K has done this, EA has done this, a lot of them have, they become filled with content. Like there's so much to do that even games like we played that wild card football game a little while back, and you start off with like you can have a season or you can have like a single game, but then you can also have this, but then you can also have this. It's like even games that are coming out today, sports games have so much content in there. For someone like me, it can be a little overwhelming because I'm like, what do I actually focus on? But I guess that's sort of the joy of it is you can actually play any one of these modes, and then when you get sick of one mode, you can start the next mode and try a completely different type of experience, and then kind of go on from there. We don't have to play everything all at once,
Sometimes I just like, that's why I like my GM mode or my universe mode, where it's just like, I just kind of want to create a show. And I don't want to play the matches, but I would like to simulate the matches, and you can just kind of put on your own pay-per-view and sit back and watch it. And the game kind of knows a lot of things. Like your money, the guy that you have given the Money in the Bank briefcase to, even in like exhibition matches, can technically come out and cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. For
Christian Cage?
Yeah. In my game right now, Dominic Mysterio has the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
That seems like the perfect guy to have it. Yeah, real sleazy guy. Yeah. It's cool. A great game. Love it.
Cool. Excellent. Well, that'll be it for now.
Holla if you hear me.
Holla if you hear me. Holla if you hear me. No, I'm sure there's more games that we're reviewing, more products we're reviewing. I'm wearing the glasses. I got to get this review.
Yeah.
I got to get this out. I already reviewed it last week. You weren't on with Johnny, and I reviewed it, but I like them. They're very good. Yeah, stick around to sidequesting.com, sidequesting TV on YouTube and Twitch, sidequesting.com on Blue Sky. You can find us individually all over the place. Mostly we're in the Discord off of sidequesting.com. Hop in there and join us. We are going to be at PAX. We got our panel has been confirmed on Thursday at 3:30. A couple folks on our team may not be able to make it. So just due to some logistical stuff. So we'll be
life happens.
Life happens, but it's all good. We're still very packed. Instead of 9 people, we're gonna have 7 people on the panel. So and we got giveaways during the panel as well. So JJ froze at the very perfect time. His network kicked, which is great. So again, sidequesting.com, sidequesting TV on the socials. And that's it. We'll see you on the next episode of The Side Quest. Bye. Bye, friends. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Zero. Thank you, Exagerus. Thank you, everybody, Ryan, everybody else. It was very nice.